Hello everyone out there in internet land. It's May 5th, 2013. I decided I would go for a motorcycle ride. First ride I've done in a little while. I was looking for an excuse to ride. So I finally found one. I actually brainstormed a bunch of topics. So maybe I'll get out and ride a little bit. And I also had to clean out some parts of the garage. As you can see, the garage is quite full. And the bike was behind a bunch of stuff, so I had to clean that out. Now the bike is free, and I'm ready to ride. So let's see if I can think of something good to say. You like my sexy shoes? That's actually going to be a topic of mine. A topic where I discuss being a motorcycle rider and what that means in 2013. Alright, here we go. Got her in gear. 28,750. Oh, I love this new clutch. This new clutch cable. It's, how do they say? Wunderbar. 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 So I'm not sure if you noticed at the beginning of my turning on the motorcycle that I had a Marine Corps magnet on the door. That's going to be the inspiration for my topic today. You like the little connection thing I just did there? Yes, indeedy. So, the idea is, why does somebody serve his or her country? And just for the sake of argument, I'm going to start out by saying I already know that you're not supposed to say there when you're using a singular. For example, each student should turn in their homework is technically not correct according to the grammarians. But people do it all the time anyway, because there's no generic third-person pronoun. A little bit of geek for you. So I might use there in reference to a person, a generic person, and I'm using the new form of there. It's not really new, it's already in use, as the generic third person, singular, or plural. Alright, here we go. So, why does a person choose to serve his or her country? This is something that came up for me recently when I was in an argument with somebody on YouTube. The person said something about serving and I didn't. And I said I did. And so I want to clarify. Why do you serve your country? Well, if you're going to ask that question, you need to also talk about what service means. I think people automatically assume that serving your country can only be accomplished in a military sense, and that is not the case. There are literally thousands of people, if not a million people, who serve the United States, serve their country, and they are not military. They are diplomatic corps, they are Senate staffers. There are thousands of people who take the oath of office, where you raise your right hand, I guess your right hand? Yeah. And you proclaim that you do solemnly swear to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign or domestic. If you're going to serve the federal government, you have to take that oath. And serving means, at least to me, helping. helping to make your country great, helping to make your country safe, and in so doing, hopefully helping the world to be a better place as well. So, my father served in the United States Marine Corps. He didn't get all the way through boot camp, unfortunately. He made it all the way to the end, and in the last week before graduation, they were on a run, and his asthma attack was so bad that he had to be carried. So they gave him a medical discharge. It broke his heart. Apparently the top dude on the base or whatever, I don't know what his rank was. If somebody else can correct me, I'm sure. But whoever it was that spoke to my father last before he was discharged shook his hand and said, "You've got the most heart of any Marine I've ever met." And he called him a Marine, so that's a nice thing. Lots will say, "You're not a Marine until you graduate." My father then went on to serve the Marine Corps League for many years. He became the commandant of the Marine Corps League at one point for a short period of time. God, that was a terrible turn. Yikes. Anyway, he did serve the Marine Corps League for a number of years. He was all gung-ho about the Marines. He started a karate school where he taught a lot of the skills that he had learned to people before they went into the Marine Corps. Gave them extra stuff too. And at least a few of them came back saying that what he taught helped to save their lives when they were over in Vietnam. So that was gratifying. And I often wondered about why he was so gung-ho about the Marines when technically he was medically discharged before the end of it. And I asked him about that later on in life, because it was a delicate subject. And he told me that the reason that he was so dedicated to the Marines was because he wasn't able to go overseas. He wasn't able to fight for his country. He desperately wanted to, but he couldn't. And he wanted to honor his brothers who did go. And he thought that the only way he could really serve his country was to serve his fellow Marines as somebody in the Marine Corps League and helping to train people privately. So he wanted to serve, and he did. He didn't fight in a war, but how many Marines go through in their entire careers and never fight, never shoot one bullet in anger? Service, to me, is doing honor to your country, paying back your country for the freedoms that you have. It also is putting your life on the line, because as a federal government employee or volunteer, you have a big target on you all the time when you're in another country. Hell, even over here in the United States. Sure, the military people put their lives on the line way more than anybody else, but anybody who is in the military, in the government service, is putting their lives on the line. I was in the Peace Corps. I served for 2 years as a Peace Corps volunteer in Fiji. You probably already know that, a lot of you. I was a teacher trainer. And one of the things that we were trained in before we went over to our countries was that sometimes Peace Corps volunteers get killed. Either through an attack, women are in danger of being raped and killed, men are in danger of being killed, bombings, you name it. There are all kinds of ways to die as a Peace Corps volunteer. And the water that I drank was condemned by the World Health Organization. I drank that water for 2 years. So I imagine that there's a possibility I could get cancer from the water I drank and die early. But I did that knowingly. I said, I know that it's very possible that my service will shorten my life significantly. And I accepted it. Wow, I'm here already. But hang on a sec, folks. I'll be right back. I got to go into the Wake Tech here and get something, then I'll come right back. Alright. I'm going to continue from where I left off last time, as I put on my stuff. You like the bike there? Put the bike on the market officially, but nobody's really been interested yet. I'm asking $13,500. You might say, geez, Mike, what's such an expensive price for an old bike like a 2005? Well, I went to NADA, and that's what they told me. $13,500 is a fair price to pay for a bike that is so nice and featured on the YouTubes. So yeah, service. What does it mean? It means working for your country, and you don't do it for the pay. You do it because you want to give back. You can serve in the military, put your life on the line. Some people in the military don't put their lives on the line. They're in the rear echelons or whatever. Doesn't mean that they're any less serving. Doesn't mean that their lives are any less in jeopardy should the crap go down, as they say. Serving the government doesn't mean necessarily fighting in a war. It just means giving back. And if you are a citizen of the United States and you enjoy the benefits of all of our freedoms and our great economy, our way of life, then maybe you should consider doing something to give back. And serving in the Peace Corps, for example, is something that a lot of people can do. It's not easy. It's not as hard as, you know, being shot at, but you do suffer through some privations, let's put it that way. So that's what it means to me to serve, and I love my country. I proudly display the United States flag. I'm proud to have served in the Peace Corps, even though I actually have an ironic take on it. Peace Corps has been in existence for 50 years, and yet the countries that it serves in, many of them have, the Peace Corps has been there for 50 years, and those countries still need us. And they're still getting aid money. At what point do you say, hey, this ain't working? We're beating a dead horse. Isn't that the definition of insanity? And then people say, well, it's a lot more complicated than that. You know, geopolitics and economics and culture and all that stuff. You can't change a country in a day. I wasn't asking for a day. I'm just saying, after 50 years and nothing's changed, it kind of makes you wonder. But I'm very proud to have served. So there you go. That's one topic right there. So get you on to another topic in the next video. Talk to you later.